I support Measure H. Firemen, 911, recreational apartments, senior services, those are the things that keep the fabric and the social contract of our society together. And as a business, as a citizen, those are the things that we need to do. So bottom line, I support Measure H. I very much like it that if you read the small writing is that it's supported by a civilian oversight. And I think that's very important because people that are in the front line, I'm a business, I'm in the front line there looking, you can have that realistic feeling of what monies are well spent. So very much for that. And having been in other committees, I know that process. I've been on the civil grand jury. I know that process works. And paying taxes is something that businesses do. I understand that Amazon and Soros don't pay taxes, but in order to support our community, we need to pay some stuff. And that's why we really appreciate when people shop locally, because we need to support that community. And we love that message and we want to make a better community. Very, very important. Cutting, and if it doesn't pass, which I hope very much it does pass, that is a very complicated matter. I'm a statistics person. I would look at the number. I would make sure I'd have a consensus. I would make sure that the decision that came up to the process of what would be cut or maybe not funded as much would be very transparent and consensus. And I really couldn't tell you at this moment. I'm not going to make things that I wouldn't know exactly what I would cut. But they would depend very much on how people are feeling, what's making the best effort, and how we're doing that. And so thank you very much for that question. So owning a business in Old Town, on the front line of that, and the fact is that homelessness and the plight of all the things that brings does affect people. I have customers, and then just the other day, two ladies that work at banks saying, you know, I don't feel comfortable, and that's heartbreaking for a business downtown. And so there are a lot of things that can be done to help. And so, what are some of the solutions that we can come up? I very much like the program where homeless people get to put their stuff somewhere safe. So when they're walking around, they're not chugging along all the stuff that they have. That's very, very important. And homeless people are human, so we need to treat them well, and so we need to have the programs to support them. But it's a complicated thing, and we need a dynamic system in order to help them. And so I support like the Eureka Veterans Village. Being a veteran myself, I think that's a very good program. I like what the California Department of Corrections rehabilitated, that whole area. I think they're coming up with some interesting thing. I love the Redwood Community Action Agency, Betty Chin. There's a lot of people out there that are doing a lot of good work, and I would support them. So that is my answer. So, like anybody, I support. I prioritize, or I very much in favor of infilling. I think that's a good strategy. I feel that we need to be careful because the war on poverty and a lot of housing had been done before. And correct me if I'm wrong here, in the '60s, and that whole issue. And then a lot of those projects were destroyed, literally blown up in the '80s. So we need to look at history when we talk about housing and what kind of housing. So the housing priority, I think our biggest export here in Eureka are young people. And so if we made accessible housing for that group, I think that group is really important because they're going to create jobs and they will be spending money, and that will make a better economy, which will help us fight the fight when it comes to the homelessness and how we deal with that. So the next thing is, I always talk about that homeless people are human beings and we need to treat them such. There's a lot of programs with housing that would help homeless people get into to different housing so they don't suffer all the public health issues that they have and that we all have. And so that would make that better. So to answer the question, I think I would go that entry level for young people would be that's where I really push. And what you can do at the city council level is make sure that the licensing process and that is streamlined, because I know as a business person, we like stability, clarity, and reassurance of, hey, we're doing the right thing. And if those things come together, then we can do good business and we can help move things forward. And that answers the question. So thank you very much for the question.